The METUS Tech Show.
Welcome to the METUS Tech Show, a show for HVAC professionals by HVAC professionals.
The METUS Tech Show.
Mitsubishi.
All right, Juan, back up in New England. How you doing?
All right, Roland. How about yourself? I'm doing great.
Not too bad. What about our favorite conversation? Let's talk about food.
Food. Oh, man, the favorite topic.
Yeah, what'd you have up here?
Pizza.
Oh, don't start a war with me.
Yes.
So what kind of pieces you got?
I like the thin crust.
Oh, yeah.
I like it with lots of cheese, pepperoni, sausage, even pineapple.
Yeah, we don't go with pineapple. But up here, it's all like pan pizza, thin crust, 9-inch, 12-inch dishes, and that's it. You know what they never do to the pan?
What?
They don't wash them.
Really?
Yeah, they're seasoned. They just wipe them off with oil.
So that adds taste to the pizza?
Yep. It's like a seasoned pan cooking.
Yeah, every once in a while I like adding anchovies to it because that salty and sweet taste from the pineapple, just more bang for your taste.
Not too many people are on our boat with Ojovi.
I know.
We're all by ourselves.
Now, Juan, you're up from near the Chicago area. Have you had deep dish pizza?
Yes. Yeah, it's the crust is deep, and it's the contents of that pizza. It's very thick. It's more content than it is crust.
All right, I've had fake deep dish pizza here.
Yeah,
in
no,
New England.
you need to come to Chicago.
Yeah, you can't shop in the frozen food section for that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a birthday cake. We actually just had a place here in Swanee, Georgia, that does a Chicago style pizza, but nothing's going to beat the pizza out of Utica, New York.
Really?
Really?
Utica, where's that?
Oh yeah,
In
it's
New York?
upstate. It's just about 40
You
miles.
just said New York,
east
Roland.
of Syracuse.
Where's Utica? It's in New York.
That's gentlemen, last question I'm asking today for this show.
Where's New York? Up north.
Yeah.
It's part of New England.
All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of the METUS Tech Show. And today we're going to talk about Kumo Cloud and Kumo Connect. We have a special guest on the show. We have Ed Babiarz. We piped him in from Swanee, Georgia. He's coming through. Say hello to everybody, Ed, and introduce yourself. What is your title at METUS?
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I am Ed Babiarz. I'm a product specialist with the Technical Service Advisors Department, currently focused in Kumo Cloud, and I've been with METUS since 2016, so actually 6 years in December.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Nice. We also have Juan
Excellent ride so
Cardona.
far.
Juan Cardona from the Ohio Training Center.
Yes. Welcome, everyone.
And Roland Wager to my right. He is from Orlando, Florida. He's the technical instructor down there. Say hello to everybody, Roland.
Hello, everybody, and I'm from the Sunshine Muggy State,
The Deep South.
the Deep South.
All right, so we brought Ed on the show today because he is our expert on Kumo Cloud. And we'd like to ask him some questions on Kumo Cloud and get an understanding about some of the latest and greatest updates to Kumo Cloud within the recent year or maybe 2 years. There have been a lot of changes to the Kumo Cloud app itself. And we just want to pick his brain a little bit on this podcast and find out what's been happening with Kumo Cloud and also Kumo Connect, which was just released a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, Ed, right?
Yep, on the 20th.
Awesome. So can you just give us a rundown, Ed, on what Kumo Cloud is for the people that don't know what that is?
So Kumo Cloud was Mitsubishi's answer for wireless network control of an HVAC system. It really is a wonderful addition to anybody's system. You're able to control your HVAC, whether you're at home, whether you're away from your space, if you have a vacation home, something along those lines. And it gives a user an opportunity to, you can kind of take a peek through the window and see what's happening in that space, and you can control it, change modes, heating, cooling, fan speeds, all from your mobile device, tablet, phone, or what have you. And it's really an excellent solution for anybody that's really into tech and convenience. Really, it offers a really customizable experience with comfort, heating, and cooling.
So that's something I could use from a recliner. Never have to get up, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like my recliner.
You could do it from the boat, man. If you're on your way
Awesome.
up somewhere.
There
or if
you
you're
go.
driving-
Now you- now you're talking
I like that
rolling.
idea. Yeah, that's up Roland's alley.
Yeah, can I put everything in hold when I'm pulling in a big fish?
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the way our trade's going, right? This is the direction HVAC equipment is going. It's it's new technology, right? Not actually new technology. It's been around for a while, but everybody wants remote control of their systems through Wi-Fi. They want that ability. So that's what Kumo Cloud gives us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's some setup involved with Kumo Cloud, and I've been quite involved myself with Kumo Cloud when I since I've been here with METUS, and there are some struggles, right? Some challenges that contractors out in the field could see when setting up Kumo Cloud. Can you run through some of those, Ed?
Sure, absolutely. As a technical service advisor, I've definitely fielded several calls regarding folks. I found probably there's three major ones that I could probably point out to you today, and I'll start with a little bit of a joke. There's the first one's going to be patience. You're
Yeah.
working with a
Good luck with that
Wi-Fi
one.
connectable device. And I understand this. We're in a business of time is money, and we're trying to get things moving along. But patience is definitely going to be an excellent opportunity for folks out there. It's probably the initial connection and setup is where we have encountered the most amount of hurdles. And I think it's because there's so many different variables that can be presented. I think if you're approaching a job site and you have your customers are aware of what you're going to be doing with these controls, and you have correct, accurate information when trying to set one of these devices up, for instance, the correct Wi-Fi login information, the network name and password, and making sure your case and character sensitive when you're entering that information. Otherwise, like any other IT device, it's going to fail.
So
I
it's
think
probably
under that
better,
initial-
Ed. Sorry to disrupt you here, but it's probably better to have all that information readily available before you start even setting up the system, because it'll be
Absolutely.
frustrating having to search it and all that.
Sure. And I totally understand that the last thing that you want to do after a long install, especially if it's a big job, is wrestle around with Wi-Fi and routers and trying to get a customer to provide that information quickly and accurately at the very end. Because, for the most part, you're packing up your tools and you're setting up your controllers and, ready to go and move on either to the next job or call it a day. And you don't want that struggle. So hopefully that information is provided, or requested during the sale, and the customer is aware and they have everything situated prior to your arrival for the installation. I'll also say in that initial connection and setup, something that gets overlooked, especially with our advisors, is anytime the number one thing that an installer needs for proper control over a system is a system that's installed correctly and addressed. A lot of our multi-zone systems, they require addressing through dip switches and dials. And it's been proven that if those addresses aren't set accurately, it can cause a communication error on CN105, which can hinder a control, which is where your Kumo Cloud wireless interface is going to be plugged in. It also can happen with MHK1 or MHK2s.
So to hear you correctly, if I may say this, so there should be some time taken to read the manual before even going there, to familiarize yourself with the system, with the component, on how the setup is, before doing anything at all.
Yeah, it is a bit of a different beast. Mitsubishi's, if they're set up correctly at initial install, it's unlikely that you're going to be making any phone calls to our support groups for issues. And we've found in the technical service advisors group that probably 80% of the calls all stem from original installation. And, we have some great classes. We have excellent instructors, obviously, to help folks along those ways and learn to overcome these challenges that they may see. There's tech tip videos for the first generation and the wireless interface 1 and wireless interface 2s on YouTube. We also have a new website that's available. It's help.mitsubishicomfort.com. That is a new website that we put out there that's mainly focused at Kumo Cloud right now, but there is some other excellent information that's in there and coming.
Yeah, so we established we need a working Mitsubishi system to start, right? You got to have everything addressed. What about condensate pumps, breaking S1, for instance, on a wall mount, right?
It's interesting that you bring that up because it didn't really dawn on me personally, but everything that we're taught, with the exception of branch box systems, you're going to be breaking S1 for the most part to kill power to the indoor unit with a condensate pump. And I was up at a lake house and it was really hot and sticky up there. It was in South Carolina in the middle of summer, and the unit was off. And I'm trying to figure out what is going on. And I look at the app and I see the little eye icon. I'm like, what's happening? And I turned the unit on and it didn't. I attempted to turn the unit on. It would not come on. And then I realized, hey, I was getting an error on Kumo Cloud reflective of communication error because the indoor unit was powered off because of the condensate pump.
Yep.
So, that's something to keep in mind if you're getting intermittent issues, or intermittent communication issues in the app, especially during the summertime. So that's an excellent question that you can ask a customer. Hey, if you're having intermittent connectivity issues, does this happen in the wintertime? If the system's been installed for a while, because that may be, there may be other systematic problems, condensate pump, drain line, something in the pan, all those things could stem down. It's great to check and ask.
So in that cabin scenario, had they interrupted S3 instead of S1 in your scenario that you just spoke about?
We had broke S1.
Okay.
If you broke S3, you'd get a different, the error would be reflected the same on the app, but the actual system itself would go into error because there's a comm error because you're breaking a communication issue.
Okay.
You're breaking communication line.
Right. So, like, to Juan's point, when you're breaking S1, you're breaking power to CN105, which powers the adapter.
Right.
That's a problem, right? So, so we established, again, a working Mitsubishi system is really important. Now, let's talk about, the elephant in the room. Let's talk about routers, the IT side of this, right? What are some of the struggles that a contractor could face walking into a home, not knowing what type of router or gateway that customer may have? What are they going to find sometimes in these homes that could hinder the connection with Kumo Cloud?
Great question. In today's standards, it's pretty much the Wild West of internet connectivity out there right now. As long as you have a stable 2.4 gigahertz network that's being supplied by your wireless router, you'll be able to get Kumo Cloud connected. I should also add that it needs a password also. So if you have a router that you're running and you don't have a password, first of all, that's a major security issue. And, other people will be able to join your network, and there's a whole list of scary things that they could do with that information. But you just need that 2.4 gigahertz wireless network with a password. And as long as and I think the biggest struggle that I've found, and I've even seen this firsthand and with you guys when we've attended the DSG conferences, again, patience plays a big role here, is entering that information correctly into the app. If you needed to find that information, if the customer is unable to provide that for you, Typically, you can find it on the router itself. It's usually printed out on a sticker, just like a data tag on an outdoor unit or indoor unit. And it should give you the very generic, if they haven't changed it, the very generic SSID and password to log in there. But there are some crazy networks out there. There's access points that people are putting all over their homes or businesses. We did encounter some issues a while back about mesh network systems, and I think the router companies have done a really excellent job in managing band steering for different devices. And as the Internet of Things grows, I mean, people are wearing IT stuff now, right? You have watches, and there's a ring that you can wear for blood pressure. There's, headsets. There's,
Right. Yeah.
all these things that are Internet of Things now. And the router companies have really done a great job of being able to manage that. And sometimes it takes a little bit more micromanaging if you're a little bit more on the techie side. I'm not saying this is an IT or as HVAC specialist, you don't want to, go into somebody's router and make adjustments.
Right.
There are adjustments that can be made to, open up channels if there's a lot of stuff around. And most of the new homes that are being built right now are very IT heavy.
Yeah, and so, some of the issues that I've seen out there have been one of the biggest is mistyped passwords, and it's really easy to mess up a password. And it's a combination to a safe, right? I've heard you mention this before, Ed. And it's a combination to a safe, and if you get that wrong, you're not getting in, and you're not going to finish that connection with Kumo Cloud. Also, another thing that I've encountered on some routers are a limit on connected devices, right?
Yes, sir.
So some routers only allow so many connected devices. I've seen some contractors here in the Northeast have been using a separate 2.4 gigahertz router just for Kumo Cloud, connected to the customer's existing router. That's another way of getting away from all the traffic on that main router in the home. Now you have a separate router just for Kumo Cloud that you're not going to interfere with any other devices in the home.
Right. And a lot of times a 2.4 gigahertz router only is going to be very cheap. So when you're bidding a job, I mean, if you do have to make an addition to the job, it's the expense level the juice is worth the squeeze in this case, to introduce another router in the home.
Yep.
I know you like that one, Roland. I think
That was a good one.
Juice is worth the squeeze.
I just wrote it down. It'll be in my future repertoire.
So, Ed, back to routers. I know there's a lot of internet companies pushing dual band routers. Any experience? Because I tell my classes, for instance, that when they approach a home with a dual band router, that it may be better off for them to just, like you said, buy a cheaper 2.4 gigahertz just for Kumo Cloud.
Well, most routers are dual band anyway, right?
Right. Yeah. Actually, they're tri-band routers now. They're introducing Wi-Fi 6.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah. There's a lot of really cool stuff that's in the pipeline, ready for launch. But there is something you did stumble on there, Juan. One of the opportunities that we see a lot of is if you do have that single router in a home, you have to take into consideration the distance of where these wireless interfaces attached to your HVAC equipment.
Good
are being
point.
installed.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So if you have a router that's in the center of your house and you're a 3-story house with an attic and you have an air handler in the attic, you're going through essentially 3.5 floors with building construction between it and interference. So we do offer, the IT extender if we need to move that closer, or a mesh system may be a better application for this user. I mean, I would think in a house that large nowadays is probably going to have a mesh system with a dual band or tri-band router. If you're having a lot of problems, I've seen some successes with dual band routers. If you can create a guest network, those are typically only going to run at 2.4. So that's been helpful. in the past, but again, the industry has really evolved and has been a lot more forgiving to those Internet devices, Internet of Things devices. And I do want to mention something about the 2.4 connection. I see a lot of reviews, and I do read all of the reviews from many different platforms, which are really important. I just want to make sure that folks understand, how come we don't put 5 gigahertz? Why don't we use 5 gigahertz? The radio frequency that's traveling on 2.4 is much better for building penetration and distance. So
Okay.
if we're using 5 gigahertz, I mean, that is much more suited for high speed data transfer.
Okay.
And sure, I want to talk to my HVAC system faster, but I'm not going to likely prioritize that over watching a football game or, streaming this podcast.
Right.
Right.
Or
Understandable.
attending a Mitsubishi class. I mean,
So you
it's
want
gonna be
more
less important.
quality of the connection. So the quality of the connection is more important than the speed of the connection. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's just that frequency, it's a radio frequency. So it's just way better suited than a 5 gigahertz signal to use the 2.4.
Nice.
All right, excellent. So there are some accessories. So let's just recap what we just talked about. We talked about a working Mitsubishi system. That's number one and very important. We talked about the struggles with a router or gateway in a home and touched upon that. Some of the things that contractors could see. Let's talk about some of the accessories for Kumo Cloud. So we have a Kumo station, which allows connection of third-party equipment. Can you touch upon that a little bit, Ed?
Sure. So the Kumo station, it's a 4-channel equipment controller. I don't want to blow it way out of proportion, but it is really an excellent piece of equipment, a great addition to a system. But essentially, it's a Wi-Fi relay that's allowing you to go hands-off, and in its most common application, to go hands-off with your heat pump system, allowing your backup heat system to take control without knowing.
Okay.
Most of the time when, the other things that you could put on there, you could put a humidifier or a dehumidifier, a ventilation system of some sort to bring fresh air in. Currently, the most popular purpose for this is to bring on a backup heat, whether it be a gas furnace or water coil or what have you. And they are offering some really excellent incentives, especially as we move towards more green energy. People are trying to cut out some of their electrical and use up some of that backup heat. There's all different types of that are available now, and Kumo Station will allow that to happen.
Yeah, so this has been happening here in the Northeast for the last, as long as I can remember working here. Rebates just amazing here in Massachusetts and other states as well. And I'm pretty sure the Inflation Reduction Act is going to play a big role in having that dual fuel setup where you can go from your heat pump to your gas-fired boiler or oil-fired boiler based on outside air temperature. So it's huge. Another accessory is
Can I say something
Yeah,
about the
absolutely.
backup heat connection too,
Yeah.
Steve? I was at a class last week in Chicago, and we know about CN24, which is the backup heat portion connection of indoor unit. But also we have, like you just mentioned, the Kumo station. But this contractor was clueless that you could have backup heat on a Mitsubishi system. So when we talked about that in class, it was, you should have seen his expression, that now he can actually provide backup heat with that Mitsubishi equipment, either an electric air handler or boiler or anything that would provide backup.
There are
backup heat.
multiple inputs and outputs on our indoor units. Not all of them, but mostly our P-Series style indoor units that can be utilized for humidifier control, ERV, outside air control, and backup heat, CN24 operation. Yeah, that's a good point. So there's a lot of options out there. Another accessory for Kumo Cloud that can be very important for and especially when using a Kumo station, is our wireless sensor, humidity and temperature sensor. Right, so that's another accessory available. It's wireless, so it's very small, compact, and easy to connect to the system. So now you can sense temperature from a different location other than the indoor unit thermistor.
Customize your comfort.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's like if you had a basement, you could measure or you could average that temperature.
So Ed, what are some of the most recent big updates to the app, improvements to our Kumo Cloud app that you can point out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think personally, from the troubleshooting standpoint, that of trying to help people with our original problem here is just getting it connected. I think the first thing that we've done was on the Android side is allow for a network scan. So it'll scan for available networks on an Android device, and you can pick which wireless network SSID you want to choose. Now, I say that's a huge win for us because you've just eliminated 50% of the biggest problem that technicians are having with this initial
Absolutely.
setup.
Yes.
So
That's huge.
So you don't have to, so you don't have to enter that. A lot of folks, that's what they do anyways. The problem that really happened was between the two companies, and I'm not calling either out. One of the companies does not allow that for security purposes. It won't let you scan. So,
Right, and I've seen
this
that
was
here
one
in
of the
class.
biggest.
Yeah, with my tablets here in class, I'm not able to scan networks. I haven't seen that new improvement to the app, but that's huge. I love that to be able to select your own network and to see all the networks in the home.
Now, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag quite yet, but I do have some exciting news in regards to this issue. Is we're working on allowing the wireless interface to do the scanning for us and leaving the phone out of it. So
wow.
the wireless interface will be able to find those networks. So this will go across mobile device platforms, and it'll populate those wireless network names, and you can select it in the app from there.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing if we could keep the phone out of it.
There you go.
There we go. Yes, great news.
There's again, through reading reviews and feedback from users and technicians alike, and this one hit home, is the ability in the wireless interface to turn the LEDs off. So those LEDs are pretty crazy. They're bright. They shouldn't be, they shouldn't be waking people up at nighttime, but the option to turn those off is available in there, and it is one of the settings.
Yeah, we had contractors sticking a little piece of electrical tape over them to cover the light.
Yeah.
So they're pretty bright.
Some white tape there. Let's see. Adding the room temperature to the zone tiles, I think, was a big positive.
Yep.
A lot of folks were
So
pretty
not
responsive to
just
that. I
set
liked-
point, room temperature also.
Right.
Okay.
Roland's not going to like this one, but we've added the relative humidity in the zone tiles.
You're right. I don't like that because of where I live. It's because of where I live. Florida is, everybody hits the panic button the minute the house goes over 55% relative humidity. The phones are ringing.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I've got good news again. This is another cat is escaping the bag from me here. We are going to be introducing what's called dry mode automation to Kumo Cloud.
Wow.
It's a new feature to enhance how cool and auto cool modes operate, and it automatically switches between cool and dry to try to help target that humidity target for you. And again, it's going to be more of a passive experience. Your app will reflect it, but something I like to think about, I think we all do this, set your thermostat and forget it. You don't touch it unless you become uncomfortable, right?
Right.
So this will once again allow for that new feature to help keep you more comfortable on a humidity level. But yeah, the addition of the relative humidity was certainly a fun addition there. Um, of course, we just launched Kumo Connect, which I think we're going to talk about a little bit more, get in depth a little bit later.
Yeah.
But Kumo Connect has been dropped. And then I think something that's been very helpful with the addition of Kumo Connect, there is a show me how feature if you do run into an error for an end user, and you can select this and it'll take you to that help.mitsubishicomfort.com website. So if a user is experiencing intermittent connectivity issues, if you have a filter change notification, if you have battery change notifications for MHK2 or MHK1, there's a huge plethora of information on that website that will help self-help to try to help reduce some of the not necessarily nuisance calls, but some calls that may not necessarily need a technician to be on site to help troubleshoot that.
Yeah, that's huge.
And give the end user an opportunity to try to troubleshoot themselves a wireless network issue that may be happening. Because, after all, again, if it is a Wi-Fi issue that's happening, a HVAC service technician is probably not going to be the guy to help troubleshoot that.
Right. One of my favorite updates to the app has got to be, and I called it the Wheel of Death, where you just get that spinning wheel.
Of death.
The Wheel of Death. Yes, the spinning wheel that tells you have maybe 1 to 5 minutes until this process finishes, right?
I always get
Now it's a checklist.
Forgot that one.
I
So you
always,
got every little checklist for when the adapter is communicating with the indoor unit, when it's actually establishing a connection with the router. That's the big one, right? We want to see that check come onto the screen.
Number 3.
Okay,
Come
yeah.
on, number 3.
Yeah, that tells me, I put the password in right, right, and that's half the battle. But that's my favorite update to the app that helps the technician, I believe, tremendously.
yeah, that's always a problem in class. A student will just sit there and say, "I must have did something wrong. What's it doing? What's it thinking?" And let's redo it. And it's patience, because that 5 minutes becoming
Right. How about
feels like
waiting long
forever.
enough?
Yeah,
Right.
it feels like forever.
At least you see something happening.
Right.
Right,
You see
exactly.
progress moving through. And also, if anybody was interested in seeing what those steps mean, we do have those published on that help.mitsubishicomfort.com website if you wanted to see that.
Excellent. Awesome. Ed, so you just talked about it a little bit, but can you explain what Kumo Connect is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an excellent new feature that we have that really ties with our company's commitment to building a digital community. Really, it allows a diamond contractor to link their contractor account with an end user. So if for some reason the end user does encounter a service related issue, that the contractor's information is stored on the phone and in our database. And it will allow that end user to contact that contractor directly, because it is important to maintain that relationship.
Absolutely.
I've had relationships with customers for decades. People that I've worked for, and you build that relationship, and this helps to solidify that. So an end user can make a contact to a contractor through the app, and a contractor can then see that in the contractor portal.
Wow.
Not only that, but Kumo Cloud will give the error code that generated this potential service issue. And there are knowledge-based articles that our technical service advisory group put together, over 900 of them, that will explain and outline what the error codes mean, and show you possible solutions for it, and maybe something to bring along if there is a part that may or may not need to be changed. It's really a step in the right direction for one-stop solutions. If the app is reporting that this is going to require service, contractor knows what the issue and error code is before arrival. That's going to give us one step ahead of the problem, and then there is an option for the end user to enter additional notes, and those are displayed for the contractor to see as well.
Oh, that's excellent.
So
That's
they're really
impressive.
going in
That's
there
impressive.
Before even making that first phone call. Customer would then, once a case is accepted, a customer would get a notification, and then contracting company would give them a call, set up a time. And then with all of that, there is an opportunity. We've introduced Kumo coins, which are part of the Diamond Contractor program, where those Kumo coins can roll into Diamond points and be used for any of anything that Diamond points would be qualified for.
That's for Diamond Contractors.
For Diamond Contract, yeah.
Yeah.
Kumo Connect is really it's only for Diamond Contractors at this time. And if they're interested, if a contractor is interested in becoming a Diamond Contractor, find a local sales representative for Mitsubishi, and they can certainly help get you on the path, and hopefully come visit you guys out there at the training facilities.
Awesome, Ed.
It'll be great.
This is great. I really enjoyed this episode. Ed, thank you for joining us today and giving us all of this information, this insight into Kumo Cloud. There are e-learning videos. There are free webinars. Actually, there's a Kumo Cloud webinar by yours truly that I may need to update in the future because of all of the updates to the app. But that shows you our free webinar. Will show you how to connect indoor units, how to connect the Kumo station step by step. It's a live video webinar, and that's free, and you can access those on our LMS, our learning management system. You can also register for classes, and for instance, our residential installation and service essentials class. We do some hands-on Kumo Cloud, some very basic connecting an indoor unit. We do some hands-on Kumo Cloud in that class. This has been a great episode. Ed, thank you again.
Thank you, Ed.
All right, Ed. Thank you.
It's been awesome. Hasta la vista, baby.
Pleasure.
Adios.
We'll see you.
Adios.
Okay.